Okay, we are at CPAC. I am with gold member Donna Keene. Donna, what do you think of CPAC this year?
I've been coming to CPAC for about 27 of 30 years, so each one is unique and different, and it's good to have Trump around, a Republican president.
Now, 27. I've interviewed a lot of people, and you're the only person who has been able to say 27 out of 30 years. So you've seen a lot.
27 out of more than 30, I'm sure.
That's true. Well, you've seen.
Since 74.
So you've seen a lot of CPAC. So I'm going to ask you a question I would not have asked the others. Decades of CPAC, we've had Republican presidents. I think this is probably the first or possibly the second CPAC where you had control of all three houses. And I think the one time when we had control of all three houses, Jeffries had jumped ship, so it was only for a couple of months. So CPAC, it might not even been that. So how has that reaction, as you see the people here at CPAC this year, how does that compare with CPACs of past?
Right. So remember that Bush had all three houses for the beginning of his administration.
Yeah, before Jeffries jumped ship.
Right, and the complaint was that they were spending too much money. Unfortunately, what happened was they were spending too much money, and the conservatives weren't very vocal about it. Because the Trump race and because of so many primary races, I think we'll be more vocal when Trump is wrong and more happy when Trump is right. And so I think people are more aware of it, and the primaries have a great opportunity to make people understand what the issues are. So people in, for example, Wisconsin, with all their voter rolls, etc., are very aware of what the issues are because they've had all the recalls. So in Colorado, the same. In Massachusetts, you don't have actual information, and you need to get more information out there to the people, which is why you do such a good job in your short interviews with people to teach everybody what the issues are.
Well, of course, in Massachusetts, they just passed a pay raise over the governor's veto for state legislators and judges, and they passed it just after the Trump election so that the legislators will have 2 years to try and mollify the people before they get angry. And it's amazing because in our neighboring state, New Hampshire, they get paid $100 before taxes for being in the state legislature. You can make a living off. I've never made as much. I have never made as much as a Massachusetts state legislator member makes in my life. Well, this is going to sound like an odd question. Obviously, you've been to CPAC many times. What were the highlights of this CPAC so far for you?
Seeing my friends. It's always seeing my friends. There's so many people that work on issues. They're grassroots people. They've been working since Reagan. I was in the Reagan, Bush, and Bush administrations, and a lot of those people are now in the Trump administration because they worked so hard to get Trump elected. So it's always, where are you now? What are you doing? How can I help? How can I connect? What can we do to have a coalition together? Where's your next conference? Can I get my speaker there? And my husband just wrote a book on the Second Amendment, so we've been promoting that book.
Oh, can we get the name of the book? Because I've got to plug it. Got to plug it if your husband's written a book.
I have a copy of it. It's called Shall Not Be Infringed. David was head of CPAC for 28 years, and then he became the president of the National Rifle Association, so he was no longer chairman of CPAC, and so he decided to write a book. He was the president during Sandy Hook, so it's about his experiences, what people believe, and what the actual truth is.
And it's to my slight embarrassment to admit that I had no idea that was the case when I asked you to be interviewed.
Oh,
but that's all right because that makes it better. So I'm going to ask you the 4 questions that I've asked every person who is here at CPAC as an attendee.
Okay.
All right. Who was your person that you supported in the primaries? My candidate was Ted Cruz to start with.
I originally supported Ted Cruz. I know him. I'm a Texan, but I think that didn't have as much to do with it as the fact that I like what he stands for in the Senate, and I like the positions that he takes. Now, that may be because I'm a Texan, or it may be because I went to school in New York.
I'm in Massachusetts, and I like that he fought when other people did not want to fight.
That's right.
I thought that was huge.
Right.
I remember
He's willing to stand out.
I was here at CPAC when he gave that final speech and was walking around. I was covering that. It was really something. I'm actually back to CPAC after 2 years because I just didn't have the funds, but my readers were able to kick in to get me down here this year. So it's a big thing. Now, when did you decide to support Trump? Was it right after he won the nomination? Did it take you a little time? Or did you end up voting for Trump in the end?
Absolutely voted for Trump, worked like crazy for Trump. I think that we make a commitment when we join the primary process to work for the nominee. And so even though I consider myself a conservative before a Republican, just like Mike Pence, I believe that we sign on to that when we support the primary process. So when Ted Cruz said, I'm dropping out of the race, I was immediately for Trump. Why? There are 2 people that were standing up and willing to take the hits for having an opinion opposite from what the going rate was. That was Ted Cruz first, in my opinion, and Donald Trump second. Fully for him.
All right. Now, obviously, Mr. Trump has only been president for 35 days or so. What do you think of the job he's done so far?
It's great. He's got better cabinet people than George Bush W. And I worked in that administration and remember how everybody loved those cabinet choices. But he's showing courage and also he's showing a little flexibility. Those cabinet people do not have to be lockstep behind Donald Trump. Remember he said, if you're the expert in that issue, you can be a little bit different from my opinion. He's giving people that latitude to learn and grow and help the people and to have policies that help the people.
As a very Catholic person, his promotion of the March for Life meant everything to me. And I'm involved with a radio station, WQPH 89.3 FM in Fitchburg, Fitchburg Shirley, I should say, that does evangelization and EWTN, which I'm thrilled to see EWTN here. They came during the years I was gone. So that, for me, that was a very big thing. And if there's one thing that he can achieve during his 4 or 8 years as president, what is the one thing you want to see him do?
I want to see him cut the federal budget and start making the government more efficient. There are 34, for example, different job training programs. None of them talk to each other. That's 33 times that we waste our money, and one could be combined. We could train people better, train them for the jobs that we have and the jobs of the future so that we will have a stronger economy.
All right, well, Donna, thank you so much for your time, and again, I imagine, I'm going to say enjoy CPAC, but you enjoy CPAC every...
I do. Run, Kurt, run. I'm probably going to be for Schilling.
Oh, I'm in Massachusetts, and he won us the first World Series. I couldn't be... I think he has a real chance, despite the fact that Elizabeth Warren is more personable than people give her credit for. And I said that's if Hillary Clinton was as personable as Elizabeth Warren, this might have been a closer race.
Except for her views.
Well, that's true. I know that's true. But I actually I've done a lot of interviews in the last several days, and I interviewed a young man who started out with Bernie, and after the Democratic convention said, I can't vote for Hillary, and ended up voting for Trump. And it was, well, you'll see the interview. It'll get uploaded a little bit before yours.
I'll look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.